everybody. My name is John Child, Cruise Addict, so we're so glad to have you here today. We're going to talk Viking cruising, and we're going to, of course, have expert Michael Consoli. Not only is he an expert, but he also sells more Viking cruises than anyone in the world. He's also been invited into the CLIA Hall of Fame. And he's going to bring his knowledge with us today, and he's going to share some great new Viking itineraries. And he's also going to tell us about some specials that you should know first, and he's going to bring that to us today. So we're going to get Michael in here. Hey, Michael, how are you today?
Good, John. How are you?
Good, good. So glad to have you here. I'm excited about this itinerary because I've never seen anything like this. So we can jump on that almost immediately. But what can you tell us about these specials?
Yeah, I mean, you want to start with the specials first?
Well, we can talk about anything. I know I'm kind of talking fast today, and I haven't had a coffee or anything. But so.
Yeah. So Joe, it's it's July. Today's July 6th, right? I hope everybody had a great July 4th. It's been a nice long weekend, so happy about that. But yeah, so the July specials, like there still are some great free air offers for 2025, for the remainder of 2025. So several itineraries that have free air for last minute sailings, what we would consider last minute sailings just because of how quickly Viking sells. And then we also have some limited itineraries at the beginning of 2026 that also have free or reduced air. There are some really great med itineraries with reduced air and some complimentary upgrades. Those are all going to be what we call private sale promos. So they're all sales that are not available to everyone, but are sent to a select group. But as you know, we are very well versed in most all of the promotions. So, well, I would say all of the promotions, but to make sure our guests get the best price. So if there's something that interests people in those areas at those times, we definitely can assist them. They are also providing the choice sale still, where guests can choose a complimentary beverage package and complimentary gratuities, or a shipboard credit ranging from $250 to $500 per person, depending on the length of sailing. That is also private sale this month, so it is the promo codes are not advertisable. We're not allowed to advertise them, but the promotion does actually exist. So and then those are combinable as always with our onboard credit offer, which we always have for our guests exclusively for guests of our agency. So all of those are combinable with those onboard credits.
That's awesome. That sounds great. So obviously there's so many incentives to actually book today because of, which is wonderful. But we almost forgot one of the most important things, right, that we actually do here. We actually want everybody to sit there and, check in. We see plenty of people watching live, which we really appreciate that you're taking the time out of your busy weekend to say hello to us. And please do that. Please check in. Let us know about your upcoming cruise. It doesn't have to be Viking. We don't discriminate here. But of course, that's what we're talking about today is Viking cruises. But we'd love to hear from you. Please say hi. We'd love to see everybody say hi. See some comments coming in. And of course, once we cover the Viking itineraries, the Viking specials, and other things, we're going to answer your questions. Michael's obviously one of the premier resources and experts in Viking cruises. He's going to be able to share any knowledge that he has. You might have a nagging question. It could be about anything. We've talked about travel insurance, right? We've talked about so many different things, pre and post cruise stays and extensions, so many different things. We've even talked about which airports you just don't want to have a transfer in, right, Michael?
Right, and we have which airports to avoid, where you need to have extra time to change planes, things like that. So yes,
so many
questions.
Yeah, so many different things we've talked about. So but it's great that Viking keeps you've surprised me with this. I can say this how this, because usually these promos don't last very long, but this one seems like it's better and better, right?
Yeah, they have they are masters, as we've said many times, at filling their ships, and they have marketing strategies that we've never really seen before. So they do a really great job of turning inventory, and some of these promotions are some of the best. They also have, as many people know, this month they also have the book more, save more promo, which if you have an existing booking, like you already have a sailing booked with Viking for the future, and you want to book another trip, they have a promo that will give you $250 to $500 off per person on that second or multiple trip that you have with them. and that is a really great savings. Unfortunately, it's not combinable with the other promos that we talked about, but it may be a better option depending on the length of sailing and the itinerary for some guests. And so, part of what we do is help them find the best promotion for them and what, where they can save the most money and get the most value on their vacation.
Right. And so I'm going to put your information down below. I know many people watching actually know you, and some are actually your clients. But for the people watching in the future, you can contact Michael right here at planmycruise.com. You can also call him at 1-800-913-7245 and Michael at planmycruise.com. I said that already, right? But you
can say it as many times as you want, John.
Yeah. I'm not just a spokesperson; I'm also a client, right? Because Michael's a great travel agent, and obviously, he's just many more clients than me. But you wouldn't know that, that's I think that's why you're successful. Is everybody thinks that you're the only agent, they're the only agent, that we're the only client, right? That's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
You do make all your clients feel special, and I see that from the comments from many of the live streams, and of course how I felt too. So it's not just a shtick here.
Right. We like to make our clients feel like they're the only person we work with, and hopefully we're successful with that. So do you want to go on to the itineraries, or do you want to talk to some of the people here? We've got a lot of people checking in. Wow, great to see everybody here. Yeah, let's talk about the new itinerary that we saw today, which I think it was just released, pre-released to past guests today, which is the Wonders of China. They have Wonders of India.
Okay.
They have 2 itineraries that they're offering in India. So this is going to be on the Vishnath Ghat. It's going to start with one of either in Delhi or Jaipur. You can go to it's going to start in Delhi, and then you'll board the ship in one of 2 places. So the 2 itineraries are Wonders of India 1 and Wonders of India 2. They are essentially the same itinerary, starting in Delhi and then ending in Guwahati, India, and then going back to Delhi at the end. So it is a really interesting itinerary, new for Viking, and we'll visit Agra and give you the opportunity to go to the Taj Mahal. You also have pre and post extensions in Kathmandu and Cochin and Mumbai. So this is really a comprehensive trip to India. If you can do the pre and post, you also get to visit Nepal. So it's a really nice itinerary with 6 nights pre at the beginning, and then 1 night post at the end, with a 7-night river cruise. So it's a really nice itinerary. The ship itself is going to be very similar to the cabins are going to be very similar to those cabins on the Mekong River that Viking has. So it promises to be a pretty impressive trip.
That's incredible. And do you know the capacity? I'm not sure the capacity of those vessels. Is it like
It's 80 passengers, so 40 cabins. With really nice hotels on the land portion. Again, the river cruise is the same. Because it goes back and forth each week, then the connections to Delhi are going to be different. So you may start in Guwahati and end in Nimati Ghat, or vice versa, depending on where you board, what your travel date is. Because the ship is obviously going to go back and forth with a 7-day itinerary. But the ports are essentially the same. And that is basically the difference between Wonders of India 1 and Wonders of India 2. It's the same land portion, just with the river cruise portion in one direction or the other.
So the big question is, I know we got a lot of people watching live, is this available to be booked now, or is it going to be released at a later date?
It is available to be booked now, and the dates basically are, it's starting in December of 2027 is the launch date, as the first sailing in December of 2027, and then it will, the current date release is through April of 2028. So essentially December of 2027 through April of 2028. So I think this might be the first offering for 2028 that Viking has. So it's pretty exciting. It's a really nice itinerary.
That's incredible. So obviously, if anybody watching wants to reach out to Michael, his contact information is down below, and you can be one of the first to have this, book this new itinerary. We've got those great promotions and specials where you can put a deposit down, right, and lock this in, and have an amazing experience. Obviously, a very intimate experience too, with only 80 passengers on board, 40 couples, right?
Yeah, and I suspect that if it sells well, it probably won't be the only ship there. So, but it is a really nice itinerary with several really iconic places to visit, including the Taj Mahal, being able to go on a safari, things like that. And then, of course, the extensions, which would really make the trip very comprehensive, visiting, Kathmandu and Nepal, and then Mumbai and Cochin, if you prefer to do that as well. It's a very nice itinerary.
That's incredible. I tell you, I'm very surprised to see this, but I know a lot of people will be excited about it because another place to explore the world in comfort with Viking.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So,
and you know what? It's a great itinerary for the Viking guests too, because they want to feel that cocoon, that safety with Viking, and this is an area where most people don't get to travel. So it's knowing that they're going to be taken care of from the moment they step off the plane to the moment they get back on, depending on what extensions they do. It gives them the opportunity to have that comfort level, the same familiar service level and accommodations that they're used to elsewhere in the world with Viking. They can also have here in an area where they may not be as familiar.
Yeah, I've had family members that have visited India, and they absolutely love it. It's just an incredible experience. Something that everybody recommends to do once in your life, to visit such an amazing place. So I can't wait to hear when people get back and post on the groups and see pictures, and hopefully you and I can go one day, on our own, to visit this itinerary maybe.
Yeah, exactly. I think so too. I would like to do it.
Yeah, pretty incredible. So wow, so that is that. We're going to sit there and go to maybe some questions. Does that sound good?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's take a look here. We've got a lot of people commenting. Still got a lot of people watching. We appreciate the thumbs and likes. We really appreciate that. Hope that wherever you're watching, please subscribe, and we appreciate it here. Let's see. All right. So we have Michael. We've got Michael, or Dave Finech says, from Dave and Kim. He's saying hello, Michael, from YouTube.
Hi, Dave. Thanks for being here.
We've got Lou checking in. Back at you, Lou. So good to see you again.
Hi, Lou. I just sent Lou an email 2 minutes ago.
And we got Susan King. She's saying good afternoon. Back at you, Susan. We appreciate you watching.
Thanks for being here, Susan.
We've got Sean checking in from Facebook. So good to see you.
Hi, Sean.
We've got Kenneth McCall, new client here. We love to hear that.
Yeah, thanks for being here, Kenneth.
And we got Brian checking in from Facebook. Back at you from, he's saying hello to both of us.
John, you don't want to try to pronounce his last name?
You know what? I'm pretty good. I think is it L?
No, it's an I. It's Ayakabuchi. They're also clients of mine. Thanks for being here, Brian. I just needed to tease John about something. So that's
Ayakabuchi?
His face is getting slightly more red, so it was successful.
So we've got Cheryl checking in from Facebook, and she says, Antiquities on Viking leaving 2/27 to 26. Well, that'll be here before we know it. The Mediterranean Antiquities. Yeah, I'll get it out.
Thank you, Cheryl. Thanks for being here.
Michael's got me tongue-tied now here. We've got Lou checking in from Facebook or YouTube again. And he said, South Keys, he's one of my favorite parts of the world. Charleston, South Carolina, such a beautiful place. And he leaves Thursday with Viking for the iconic Iceland, Greenland, and Canada cruise. That'll be awesome.
That's exciting.
I'm getting pretty jealous of Lou here because he's doing some great trips.
Lou gets to do some good travel, I'll say that.
Yes. And we've got Mike Malloy checking in from Facebook. So good to have you here, Mike. He says, cruising with Viking to Australia, New Zealand with an extension, Viking Homeland and Southern Atlantic crossing. That sounds wonderful.
Mike has several cruises booked with us. Again, thanks for your business, Mike.
And let's see here. Yeah, and so Susan had a question, I think. She goes, Michael, we always buy travel insurance through you. Is there a way to buy yearly travel insurance to save money? And while we sure tapped into that in that last video we did, I think it was, wasn't it?
We did. And Susan, it's a great question. It's one we get all the time. To be honest with you, you know, many of the trips that the Viking guests take would not be something that would be covered under an annual policy, simply because the annual policy limits are lower than the final pricing that the guest pays for a Viking cruise. The annual policies are really designed for business travelers who buy multiple airline tickets throughout the year. That's why you'll see that the plans are called the executive plan, the junior executive plan, things like that. Many people do buy them to cover trips throughout the year, but the maximum coverage is usually like $5,000 per trip with a maximum of $20,000 per year. There are a few annual policies that are like $30,000 per year. But if you're taking, 2 trips that are $10,000 per person a year, it's really not a policy that's going to cover you with the coverage that you need. In fact, many of these policies, these annual policies, are very similar to the limited policies that are offered by your credit card company. The credit card policies typically are an annual policy with those same limited coverage limits. The medical is very limited, and it's the low coverage for cancellation is an issue. So if you're taking 2 or 3 Caribbean trips a year that are going to be $3,000 a person, then that might be sufficient coverage. But if you're in Asia and need to be airlifted somewhere, the coverage that you're going to get from an annual policy typically will not provide you what you need, or the cancellation for a trip like that. So it really depends on the type of travel that you do, but most guests that are purchasing these types of trips would not have the full coverage they need for cancellation with an annual policy.
Yeah, and I kind of surmise that it's these trips. What you described to me and the audience last time was these trips sometimes are so complicated, and they have extensive air, and they have extensive, where they're far, far away from home, that so many different parts of the policy can get complicated compared to a basic travel, like I said, to the Caribbean or even the United States, right?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, the annual policy would not even cover most business class tickets. So, the cost of a business class ticket is $5, $7. If you're going to Australia, New Zealand, it's $10,000. So many times they wouldn't cover those things. Not that everybody's flying business class, but once you factor in, even economy or premium economy with a 14-day, ocean cruise or something like that, the limit, you're way outside the limit of what an annual policy would provide.
Yeah, and I think what you were saying too is the fine print. Basically, what you're saying too is the fine print in all these policies are the coverage is very low sometimes.
Yeah, and I mean, look, I travel, 3 or 4 times a year with groups, and then I have, other trips that I have to do, industry trips, things like that. And I would love to have an annual policy that would cover all of that, but there's just not a way to do that. I have an 85-year-old mother who's probably watching and cringing because I say that, but that would keep me, if something happened to her, it would keep me from going on the trip, or any other family member, it would keep me from going on the trip, and these trips would exceed the coverage that is provided by an annual policy.
Right. Okay, we're going to move on here. Susan Grady's checking in from YouTube. She says, hi guys, thanks for the info. Just got back from back-to-back ocean river trip. Oh, that sounds amazing.
Awesome, Suzanne. Hope you enjoyed that. It sounded great.
Yep. And Mary Beth is checking in from YouTube, and she says, have to survive winter before next cruise, San Juan to Barcelona. That's awesome. March 26th. So that'll be her before you know it.
Yeah, thanks for being here, Mary Beth.
And let's see. Mike says, I'm not the only one.
Yeah, I think he meant that with a question mark. Like he's not the only one.
Oh, okay, yeah. As far as the clients, right? I get it now. So I'm a little slow today. I'm sorry, Michael. And Lou's saying, we do feel special. I sent Michael an email with a question 1 minute before the live, and he answered immediately. That's like magic, Michael.
Yeah. We try very hard to answer things right away. So
let's see here. Okay. So David had a question about I'm guessing the Cruise Planner website versus Viking website. Yeah. Example, cruise on Cruise Planner site with booking available, but same cruise on Viking show sold out.
Yeah. So David, it's a great question. Our feed is from like a national feed. So all the cruise lines provide this information to this national feed, and it's only as accurate as the information the cruise lines provide us. So the answer to your question is, if it's sold out on Viking site, unfortunately, it's probably also sold out if you were to attempt to book that same sailing on our site. But as you've heard me say before, I would much rather help you in person than have you book it on our website. But anytime you need something, please reach out and we'll be happy to double check and make sure whether or not there's space on a sailing for you.
Awesome. And Stuart Little's checking in. Hi, Michael, he says from Facebook. So good to see you again, Stuart.
Hi, Stuart. Nice to see you. Thanks for being here.
And we have a new Viking cruiser. She says, Kathy is checking in from Facebook. So good to have you here, Kathy. She says, hello, we are taking our first Viking cruise in December. City of Antiquities. Here we come.
Yeah, that's a really nice itinerary. So we hope you enjoy that.
And Brian says, it doesn't matter how I say his name. It's okay.
Oh, see? That's not how I interpret that, John, but if you want to take it that way,
that's fine. And Dave says from YouTube, says, how's the quiet season in the Mediterranean, ancient Mediterranean shores? And I'm just going to chime in. Don't go in the middle of July. It's really, really hot.
Yeah. Well, it is. That's true. So and thanks, Dave, for the question. The quiet season are typically named quiet because it is, an off-season time. So the winter time can be somewhat cooler, obviously, and even in the Med, it can be cold. So, and there are, I think that Viking is very smart to name these itineraries quiet season itineraries because there are going to be things that are not open at that time of the year. Restaurants, shops. The season is over. So for cruising in that part of the year and part of the world, and so some of those things will be closed because people, the Europeans, unlike many Americans, they take long periods of time off of work. So, however, the itinerary is super nice. It's a great place to visit during that time of the year if you want to get away anywhere else besides the Caribbean or South America or Asia. So it's a great alternative to those three places where most cruise ships will be at that time of the year.
Awesome. Thank you for that answer. And Susan says, thank you for the answer on insurance. So we appreciate that. And Lou says, that is a good answer on insurance. I usually do Viking, and the costs of the cruises and airfare will be much more than covered by the annual policy. So he agrees with your assessment there. And David says he's been cruising with Viking since 2014. This itinerary sounds awesome. I agree.
I agree. It's a very unique itinerary, and we're excited to see it. We love being able to help our clients experience new destinations. And even just as an aside, John, our clients that are on the World Cruise, many of our clients that we have World Cruises booked for, every year we provide maybe an overland tour, or Viking will have an overland tour in India, for instance, where they are able to go get off in one port and get back on in another, so that they can go and experience the Taj Mahal and some of these iconic places. So it's very nice to see something offered here that will give the opportunity for guests to have, an immersive experience in India.
Yeah, this is a true journey. I mean, you're going from city to city, and a motor coach, overnight motor coach tour, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's quite a lot of going on there.
Yeah, they're flying. There's 2 internal flights and then more internal flights if they're doing some of the extensions. I was looking at the itinerary, and the distance from Delhi to Agra, for instance, is about 4 hours. So that will be done by motor coach. And there's usually always, whenever the trip exceeds 2 hours, there's always a break for guests to get off for 30 to 45 minutes and maybe have lunch or whatever. So I'm certain that that will be the case with this as well, to break up that motor coach ride. But the only portion that's done by motor coach that I saw was Jaipur to Agra, Agra to Delhi, or vice versa.
Yeah, what stands out to me is real nice is you're going to visit this part of the world, but you get to see so much of it. It's not, one of the drawbacks sometimes with cruising, of course, is you only get a little taste of these different port cities that it might visit. In this case, you're doing a whole journey where you're getting to see an extensive part of India that people, you might never be able to see or do except with an amazing trip like this that covers so much.
Exactly. Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And let's see here. Salu says, we did the Med East 20 days last September, and it was super hot, 96 plus daily. October, my new target. Yeah, it can get hot.
Yeah, October is a great time to do the Med, and I have found that like April, May, October, really great times where it's not super hot to do the Med. So, and they're pretty popular times to go. It's when you start getting into November, December, that they would consider quiet season, like November through February would be considered quiet season in the Med for sure.
Yeah, so Mike Malloy is asking, he's looking at the Northern Lights cruise, best time of year he's wondering, and any itinerary suggestions, like any Viking cruise itinerary that jumps out to you, Michael, that might check all those boxes for him.
Yeah, I mean, that In Search of the Northern Lights itinerary is really only offered during the years where it's ideal to see the Northern Lights. Unfortunately, it's also during a time where it can be, dark most of the day or pretty cold. But I have to say, it is on my list to do that itinerary. I've been on over 350 cruises all over the world, but I've not done that itinerary. So it is definitely on my radar to do. I've had many, many clients do it and really love it. So it's definitely something that I would like to do. But it really would only be offered at the best time of the year to see the Northern Lights.
Michael, the website's called Cruise Addicts, right? I don't know if 350 cruises really, let you in have membership or not.
I know, right?
kind of like raise them up a little higher there.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So let's see here. Kathy's asking, since we're going to be in Delphi in December, do you think there might be snow? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't think so. I'm not sure about that. But it's a great question, and it's not something that I'm going to look real quick for you because I don't know about that.
And while we're here, we've got great questions coming in. This is my favorite part of the show. I know Michael's too, where we have this interaction between people where we're getting questions. We can only talk about itineraries and specials so much, but it's a great information. But this interaction really brings out so much information from Michael. Of course, he has so much information to share with all of you as far as with when you ask the right question, right?
Yeah. Looking at the historical weather pattern, it looks like there's only a 23% chance that you would have snow in December in Delphi. So.
Okay, what did you say? I didn't catch it.
23% chance.
Okay.
No, yeah.
Lou's got a great question. He goes, Michael, what has the feedback been on the Viking Nile cruises? From what I've seen on YouTube, it looks amazing, and I bet it is.
I mean, every single client I've sent on that trip has raved about it. The Pharaohs and Pyramids, it is a really comprehensive look at Egypt and. In recent years, just because of the conflict with Israel, that has been something that has, I don't want to say slowed, it has slowed the interest in Egypt. Although I will say that these ships are sailing full, and even since that conflict started, over a year ago, the sailings have continued, and clients have told us that they feel safe and comfortable. In fact, I am going to be escorting a group here in November on that itinerary myself, with about almost 80 of my clients going with us. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. But it is a great itinerary, and I would recommend looking at those ships that are newer. If you look at that, and there are some great incentives to book that itinerary. So definitely the best time would be anytime from like November to March. Those are the best weather times to go, where it's not unbelievably hot. They did offer, or are offering, some sailings in August, for the solar eclipse. So that's very interesting, because it's going to be super hot. But, the trade-off is being there for the solar eclipse, which is supposed to be incredible from that viewpoint. So, but the best time would be sometime November through March.
Awesome. Now, Susan's from YouTube. She's asking, curious about the Nile too. So you spoke to her curiosity here. But have security concerns? What security concerns have come up from friends and things? I know people get concerned about that region of the world, right?
Yeah, and so our guests say that they have felt very safe. They're escorted with security when they're off the ship, and so and the ship, of course, has security on board. So it's they feel very safe. We have not been aware of any incidents at all with the operation of the several ships and sailings that they have every week with Viking, or any of our other partners that we have that are doing it. So there are other lines doing it as well. We've not had any incidents at all. So I personally don't have any security concerns about it, but people have to feel comfortable that they're going someplace where they will feel safe, and I think you have to familiarize yourself with what the cruise line will be doing and how they will be keeping you safe. But overall, it's not something that I'm concerned about with my group or our trip in November either.
Right. And Lou is impressed with your 350 cruises.
Yeah. Well, keep in mind, Lou, it's somewhat deceiving. It does include a lot of inaugurals and things like that. So, but I have been cruising since I was in high school. So I won't say how many years that is, but you could probably tell by looking at my face. But I do love the cruise business and what we do. So it also helps me bring those experiences to my guests, which is really important.
And we've got an important question from Suzanne. She goes, any room on your November Nile trip? How did I miss that? She wants to know. I
know. It sold so quickly, I have to tell you. We sold it in about 4 days. So, it is a very nice itinerary. And I'm sorry that you missed it, Suzanne, but I am certain that you will get invitations to our other ones as well.
Yeah, it sounds like we got to start another one, right?
Right.
And Lisa's got a great question, Michael. She goes, I missed the first 10 minutes of this. Do you post it afterwards? I've only listened live before.
So this is great, John, because this is a question you get to answer.
Yeah. So actually, yes, all our live videos actually are replayable. So as soon as this is over, you can just literally start and watch it all over again once it's completely finished. So, which is great. And it's amazing because we have quite a lot of people watching live, and we have this live interaction, which, like I said, we love. But sometimes we have thousands of people actually replay it and watch it, sometimes for years. Or some of our biggest videos are several years old, or even recently. So that's the fun part about it, is all this information, all of your wonderful questions, share with many other Viking crews, and we get to all learn from each other. So that's what makes this wonderful.
And Lisa, thanks for being here. Lisa's a longtime client as well.
Oh, wonderful. So glad to have you here. And Joanne is checking in from Facebook. I remember I've seen her before here. So good to see her. I see you. And she goes, India sounds very interesting.
And I'm just going to predict that Joanne's going to book this cruise within the next 24 hours. Joanne is our most traveled Viking client. She has the most Viking sailings of any of my guests. So she is she's a dream to work with and a wonderful client. And I am certain that that is going to end up in my email box from you, Joanne, in the next 24 hours.
Yeah, it looks amazing. I wonder if I can do this here properly, because it's I'm kind of learning how to do this all at the same time here. Let's see if we can do it. Can we scroll it? Yeah, can you see it?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a comprehensive itinerary. As I said, 15 days, and that is just the cruise and land portion on Wonders 1 and Wonders 2. I believe it's 6 days on land at the beginning, 7-day river cruise, and then 1 day at the end to get people to Delhi to fly home. And then you have the 2 extensions. One, I believe, is 4 nights in Kathmandu, and the other 5 nights with Mumbai and Cochin. So some great options there.
Yeah, and you got
the itinerary. There's an option to go to Dubai for 3 nights, which would definitely be on my list.
Oh wow, yeah, it's actually seems quite affordable too. Kathmandu. Wow, that's amazing. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed looking at all over that. They don't have a video up yet. I was looking for the video because they have these amazing videos. Let's see here. So we whet everybody's appetite on that. But Janet from Facebook says, any recommendations on one Danube River cruise versus the other? I know that's hard sometimes.
Well, it depends if you're looking at the 7-night itineraries. The Romantic Danube or the Danube Waltz. The Romantic Danube is going to overnight in Vienna and take you to Regensburg, whereas the Danube Waltz is going to include a stop in Bratislava and end in Passau. So I have to tell you personally, I favor the Romantic Danube. I like the extra time in Vienna. I also Regensburg is one of my favorite cities to visit. So the old sausage kitchen is there in Regensburg, and I think it's something that's not to be missed. So my recommendation, if you're thinking about the 7-night, would be the Romantic Danube, starting in Budapest and ending in Regensburg, or doing it in the opposite direction if you plan to add Prague. Prague is definitely not to be missed as well. And then if you're looking at the 14-night, obviously the Grand European would be the best and probably only choice on the Danube, besides the 21-night European sojourn, which would take you all the way down to Bucharest. So 7-night, my recommendation would be the Romantic Danube.
Yes, and I second Vienna and Regensburg is amazing. Love both those spots. So I'd spend as much time as you can.
Absolutely.
And then Stuart's got a great question too. He goes, I see the new Mediterranean and Adriatic Odyssey 15-day cruise. Is that 2 8-day back-to-back cruise, or is it a single cruise?
Believe it or not, it is a single cruise, so it's not a back-to-back. This is going to go Athens to Rome or Rome to Athens. Very nice itinerary, 14 nights with 12 included tours. And that is offered in November of 25, October and November of 26, and January and February of 27. So very nice itinerary. It is, kind of in the off season, but for 14 nights, it starts at $59.99 per person, which is a pretty good price for a 14-night cruise.
Yeah. And David's checking in from Facebook. He goes, we're doing the Nile in September next year. Looking forward to the sunrise hot air balloon ride, which I've seen so many amazing pictures.
Yeah, it's really amazing. Looking forward to doing that myself too, David. It's going to be a nice trip.
That's one of those pinch yourself, bucket list types of things, right?
Yes.
And she wants to say, she goes, we're ready for Australia, New Zealand with you in February. Met some great folks from both places on our recent trip and plan to connect. Oh, that's awesome.
Yes, she is referring back to one of the groups that I'm escorting in February, which I think we have in excess of 120 people in the group for that sailing. So I'm actually looking forward to it. That will be my 7th continent. So very much looking forward to that trip.
That's awesome. And Sean actually says Christmas on the Danube was awesome. And I agree, because that's when I did the Romantic Danube. and absolutely loved it. And they've got in Regensburg, they actually have a special optional tour at this castle, and it's called the Romantic. I have to look it up exactly, but it's a special romantic Christmas market in the center of the castle. I forgot what it's called, but it's in the middle of it, and it's amazing. And there's a lot of places you can't see as far as they take you through the tour of the castle.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've been there or not, but what I'm getting at is the Post family, I believe it is.
Yeah.
The people that own the post office or the post.
So Sean, I have to thank you for pointing that out, because while I do have a favorite Danube River cruise, I do not have a favorite Christmas markets cruise, and that's because I love all of them. I could go on. I've been on so many Christmas markets cruises. I would say 20 of the 350 cruises have been Christmas markets. They are some of my favorite itineraries. So that's a great point. Thanks for sharing that.
I love it. Yep. And Lou says he's eaten twice at the old sausage house in Regensburg, and I bought a cuckoo clock last year. So yeah, that was using the Black Forest, right?
Yes.
And, he said our seventh continent will be the Antarctic cruise booked with you.
Yes.
So, yeah, awesome.
You will love Antarctica, one of my favorite trips I've ever been on. So. But
I'm with you, Michael. Me and my wife have said, because we've done so many Christmas markets, and once you've kind of done one, it kind of ruins you because it's so awesome. It's like icing on the cake, because you're visiting these great places, and then also there's less people there because it's an off season. So a lot of times you get a great value, right, with the rate, but you also get the amazing experience with the Christmas market. But you get to visit all these places, and it's just, you kind of feel like a local. That's what I'm trying to say too.
Yeah.
I could go on and on. Of course, I'm being chatty about it, but it's wonderful, and I can do it yearly if my credit card allows. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's interesting that the markets actually, the original Christmas markets were because, people were stocking up for the winter in these places. And so they would go, the Christmas markets would be open for 25, 30 days. And they would, go and stock up for the winter. And so they had a lot of handmade goods and foods and all of that. And it is a lot of fun. I see Lou's comment that says that Michael loves the mulled wines, which they're not my favorite, I have to say, but I will say I have quite a large collection of the mulled wine mugs. Yeah, they're very fun to collect on these cruises. Every one of these cities and some of these markets have their own mugs that you can buy for €1 or €2, and they'll fill it with mulled wine, of course, if you want to spend €5. But with all the mugs that I purchased, I probably wouldn't be able to walk back to the ship if I partook of all of the mulled wine. But yeah, it's definitely a fun thing to do. I tell my clients, make sure you take a pocket full of €5 coins, because you will want to try all the foods that they sell in all the markets, and that makes it a lot of fun. So
yeah, it's really incredible. We're going back here. Yep. So Sean says, we're doing Christmas on the Rhine next year. We love the Rhine and German Christmas markets.
Yeah, the Rhine markets are really, really nice. Very not commercialized. So it's not like you're going to get there and there's going to be a booth for Bed Bath & Beyond or, something like that. So I find the ones on the Rhine to be less commercial, more local products, people that, handmade products, but they all have great handmade products for sale, or Christmas gifts and things like that, jewelry, lots of great gifts, ornaments, of course, cookies, all kinds of foods. So you really can't go wrong with any of the Christmas markets. When you're in a big city like Vienna, they have several different ones, and some of the smaller cities have one big, large one. They're just a lot of fun.
And one thing I wanted to mention is things are actually really affordable. Like nothing's it didn't seem like anything was really overpriced. The food, so you can do little tastings, as you go around. You don't feel like it's too much. You don't feel like anyone's gouging you like some of the fairs in the United States.
Yeah, we always have to take an extra suitcase on these trips so that we get everything.
Yeah. And Suzanne's got a great question. She goes, Danube or Rhine for Christmas markets? Friends suggested the European sojourn to hit both.
Yeah, that's a nice itinerary for sure. So I think that, if you're willing to do that much time for Christmas markets, it would be a very nice itinerary, the Grand European, something like that. Again, I think I favor the Rhine a little bit just because I think it's a little less commercialized than the Danube Christmas markets, but they're both great choices. You can't go wrong with either one. I mean, Budapest is beautiful at Christmas, Vienna, beautiful at Christmas. So, any of the Danube markets would be a great choice.
Yeah, you see quite a bit of difference in the markets because I've done the Danube one, and you go from Budapest, which is incredible, to all these places. You just got a lot of variance there as far as what you see. But yeah, that's hard. That's like trying to pick between two great movies, right, Michael?
Exactly.
Yeah. And Sean says Glühwein. Glühwein? Am I saying it right? So we go. Suzanne is thanking Lou because Lou's got a whole chat going on here. Have you seen
I know he's got his own group here.
We need to get Lou here live soon. I think we're gonna. So, and of course he says we have a few mugs, and yep. So there's a lot going on here. Any more questions? We definitely want to, take advantage of Michael being with us live. We've got a lot of people watching. We still have time left. Is there any standing questions? Any tips that come to mind that we haven't covered? Maybe Michael, that as far as there's still a $25 deposit. I'm sure you mentioned it earlier, but that's incredible. It looks like it's still available to the end of the month. So if someone can call you.
Yeah. The $25 deposit is a really great, when you combine it with the specials that they have, and then, it's just a really great deal, a really good time to book a cruise with Viking.
Yeah, I mean, that's incredible because so a customer could literally call you up today with $25 and lock in one of those Indian cruises, right? Tours.
Absolutely, yes.
And then they have, they could plan it and stuff like that. But they can cancel if something happens, right?
Yeah, and then, look, it's a $25 deposit, and if they cancel, they get, they lose the deposit, unfortunately, but they can revise it to something else and not lose the deposit. But it's, it's a $25 per person deposit, so it's not like it's, $150.
Yeah. So what's the best? So we've listened to some of these folks talk about different things. The Christmas markets, the upcoming India. Of course, it's available to book. What's the best way people can reach out to you and talk about these things? Of course, this is a major cruise for a lot of folks, right? So what's the best way they can consult with you, learn more about these things, make sure they get everything dialed in and plan for this, right?
Yeah, look, we are really, really pride ourselves on personal service. So having the opportunity to speak to the guest and be able to help them, in person is really our preferred way. So having somebody call myself and my team to book these trips, that would be our preferred method. But we have many guests that communicate with us via email, and we hold things via email, answer questions. I answer questions with all of my clients via email all the time, but we prefer to, get to know our clients and be able to provide them the best service. And I think the only way to do that is really have a discussion with them. So, but the best way is either via email at michael@planmycruise.com or by calling our 800 number, 800-913-7245. I just would like to point out, in case she's still on the live with us, that Joanne has already now emailed me about the India. So she will add that to her repertoire. But I think many people will be interested in this, and I think they will sell very quickly.
Yeah, there's not a lot of capacity there when you only have 40 cabins, right?
Exactly.
All right. So, and we got a few more questions here coming in. We'll try to get these. And Lou was saying, it's great to meet these folks from these live chats. I do some with Gary. Yep, he's talking about. Let's see. And David from Facebook says Nuremberg to Basel on the Rhine in December next year. Any suggestions?
Yes, bring lots of pocket money because you're going to be spending a lot of money. Not a lot, but you'll be, to enjoy the markets, you'll be sampling foods and buying great gifts for people. Bring an extra suitcase. You're going to love any of the markets, I promise. Nuremberg actually has one of the biggest markets, so.
It's really big. And let's see, Mary Beth had a question. Best time of year to take Iceland, Greenland, New York cruise? Might be next cruise.
Definitely this summer. The summer months are the best time, weather-wise. So, Iceland is more bearable during those months. So, yeah. And I think, Mary Beth, you have that book more, save more promo that you could use since you have the January cruise booked. You actually would be able to reserve that space for $25 per person and then save that extra money on the sailing with the book more, save more promo.
Okay. And Judy's got a great question. She goes, trying to plan shore excursion on Celebrity 12 days Japan to Seoul. They are very expensive. How close does the ship dock in Hiroshima, Nagasaki, Kochi? Can we just explore on our own?
Yeah, so I would not recommend doing it on your own. I would definitely recommend having a guide. I think it's the best way to get the most out of your vacation. So I would recommend using a local guide to assist you with your tours, and certainly happy to answer that question for you offline, Judy.
And she's asking, should she call after the webinar?
You could, but I have a family obligation that I have to be at today, so it'd probably be best if you did it on Monday.
Okay, wonderful. And Kenneth's got a question. What are your thoughts on Toronto to New York cruise?
Yeah, it's a really nice itinerary. I don't know if you're talking about the one on ocean or expedition. I have done both. They are really nice itineraries, great way to see that part of the world. It's actually one of my favorite things to do is to sail down the St. Lawrence Seaway. So it's actually very scenic, and I would highly recommend it.
Awesome. So we've got a few more minutes. If you any more questions, everybody, we really appreciate it. So I love, like I said, I really honestly love the interaction. It makes it so vibrant and enjoyable for everybody. And you just never know what questions are going to come up, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So we love the questions that we get. It's always so interactive, and it's very nice to have the opportunity to do this.
Are the expedition cruises and selling still booking up quickly?
Oh, the expedition cruises, I think, are just been super popular. 334 guests, really, really nice ships. The dining venues are nice. The food is incredible. And of course, all those experiences with what we call the toys, the Swiss operations boats, the kayaks, the submarines, really that experience is incredible. That's why I mentioned it about the Toronto to New York itinerary, because that itinerary on the expedition ship was just really incredible.
Yeah, I just put a video out not too long ago about the SOBs where you go down into the area there and they take you out for a ride, and it kind of makes you feel like it's a first person experience. So you get a little taste of that type of experience. So
yeah,
it's pretty cool. So let's see. Looks like we got a few more things. Yeah, Lou say basically it's amazing, no doubt. And I think, and that's what happens. People are going to come back from these vacations like me and Michael have done, and they're just going to rave about it. And it's just going to keep, they're keeping it sell well, right?
Exactly.
Marianne had a great question. They're calling you right now, Michael.
Yeah.
When is the balance due with a $25 deposit? Thanks for all the info.
So it is dependent upon the sailing date, what we call the promotional final payment date. The promotional final payment date is determined by the year of travel. So for 2027, it would be March 31st of 26, and for 2026, it would be September 30th of 2025. Those are the final payment dates for most guests that are booking with the $25 deposit. There are some exceptions to that if you have multiple bookings, which we are happy to navigate with our guests to make sure they get the latest final payment date. For those guests that are booking their first cruise or don't have a future cruise with Viking already, the promotional final payment date is when their final payment is due, and those are the dates I just mentioned.
So I'm just going to wrap this up and by saying, oh, yeah, she says, Does Expedition have a $25 deposit too? Been eyeing a few.
Yes, Expedition 2. Anything Viking offers currently has a $25 deposit unless it's over 35 days or is a world cruise. So yes, the $25 deposit does apply and to Expedition and Antarctica.
And I've got a nerdy question that came up earlier in my mind and I haven't asked it. Is it hard for people to get insurance on a world cruise?
No, our insurer that we offer, our exclusive policy will cover the entire trip with one policy. Many times you have to purchase more than one policy for a world cruise. Of course, Viking's policy through TripMate also is available. Our proprietary policy that we offer will cover the world cruise without any issues.
So I'm just going to wrap this up and I'm going to throw it back at you, Michael. It sounds like this is one of the best times to book a Viking cruise. You've got
currently the promotions like last month and this month, I think still is one of the best times to book because you have the $25 deposit, you have the choice offer, being able to have beverage and gratuities or the onboard credit, or you can take the additional savings for those that are booked, not yet departed on one of their other bookings. So we can help them navigate that and figure out the best value for them. But yes, there are several ways to save currently with Viking.
And how do they do that? They just got to reach out to you and
yeah, just michael@planmycruise.com or give us a call at 800-913-7245.
Yeah, so this is the time. Don't hesitate. Learn about which. I know a lot of people are interested in a lot of different types of cruises. Obviously, there's some great incentives if you have our existing cruise booked. If you don't, there's that amazing low deposit. Of course, reach out to Michael. Let him know what you're thinking, and let's make it happen. Time is passing. We need to make it the best of it, right? So yeah. We'll end here, and we appreciate, Michael, you taking the time to join us today. And I hope everybody has a great Sunday wherever you are. Thank you again for joining us.
Hey, thank you, John. Have a good day.
You too. Bye, everybody.
Bye.